Hello, everyone. Good morning. You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is Weekend Wake Up. My name is Caitlin Aristizabal, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Leslie Gallagher. Welcome to Weekend Wake Up, my friends, your weekly dose of lifestyle-ish news. Lifestyle-ish because we talk about everything, but we call it lifestyle because that's what our producers told us to do. So in this episode, we've got a lot going on. We're going to talk about some new music, some new entertainment news, and we've got a lot for you, but we're going to start with new music, and especially with talking about Taylor Swift's new song. I'm excited, and here's Jake Getz to welcome in the new music with us.
Hello. Oh man, there is a lot of music news today. We just got this pretty big announcement from Taylor Swift that she's announcing this new song, All Over Me, from the Vault. Now, this is like interesting to me because I'm assuming, because this is coming out with the re-recording of Fearless. She's re-recording it because of that whole situation with what's his name? The scooter dude?
Scooter Braun.
Scooter Braun. Yeah, I don't think we have time to get into that, but yeah, so she's re-recording her album Fearless from, what year did that come out? That was...
Oh boy.
2000 and...
I feel like it was 2009. It is...
Fact check.
2008. Okay,
2008.
I was close.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good old days.
She's releasing this song. I'm assuming, it doesn't actually explicitly say this, but I'm assuming it was written around this era, like the Fearless era.
Actually, as a Taylor Swift fan, I do have a little more background on this, and this I just know because it's just information in my brain. But basically, around this time when she wanted to release more songs on Fearless, or just around this time, she wrote a bunch of songs, and they were like, oh no, that doesn't fit like your image,
really?
Or like it's not good enough to release, and just like,
wow,
because they were trying to keep like this very like static image of her, of being like the good girl who like writes like little country love songs. And I mean, at this time she was getting into pop, but still. And I don't know, there were some songs that they were like, oh, it's like too whiny or breakup-y or whatever. They're very critical of them. And now that she's like, well, I'm an adult, I can do what I want now, I'm not a kid anymore, these are my songs and I wrote them and I'm proud of them, I'm releasing them. So
she wrote it in the past.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
I don't know how much she's like touched them up over the years, but she said that she wrote these when she was like 16, 17.
Whoa. That's crazy to still release that all this time later.
Yeah, no, that must be crazy. And I'm sure you mentioned, I don't know how much she touched it up, but she's going to have Maren Morris, who is a artist I'm not familiar with, but the fact that she's getting other people on and she's tweaking it, I definitely think that she's going to, like, especially because people don't know what the song is. So she could do whatever she wants with them. So I think she's really getting it the best that she'll be able to be.
And some people were speculating too that because she has a collaboration on this song, that she's going to have different artists or different friends collaborate on other songs. And I'm very excited to see that.
That would be super cool.
Because that's kind of a very Taylor thing to do, is just like drop hints and be like the Easter egg thing where she like shows what she might be doing in the future, and we all try and figure it out. I never can figure it out. I can only like read other people's like, I don't know, interpretation. Yeah, I'm really excited for this and for all of her other songs in the future that she comes out with from her past too. Very excited.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. And another story that kind of involves nostalgia, kind of involves going back to another time, is Miley Cyrus putting out this open letter to her alter ego, Hannah Montana. It's funny. This is a really, like, I saw this all over my Instagram feed. It's funny. I watched Hannah Montana like growing up, like it was always on, and like I didn't expect this letter to like kind of get me. It's very like sweet. I don't know. It's like
tore at your heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, not gonna lie. It's funny because it is very long. Well, it's not that long, but like if you're like me and reading is hard, it's kind of long.
It is long because I saw this on my timeline a bunch of times. I saw people reposting on their story like over and over, and I liked the picture and I was like, I'm gonna go back and read it later. and I did not read
And
it until like
also,
the next day. So
yeah,
because
no,
I just can't
it's
find the time,
hard.
and it's
Like, I'm
long.
tired. No.
Yeah,
Because
and
especially
also
because it's 2 pages, you have to swipe.
it's 2 pages, and also like not to be mean, but Miley Cyrus is, I don't know if I assume this is handwritten by Miley Cyrus, and it's not
Yeah,
that easy
it's
to
not the
read.
neatest.
It's kind of like there were definitely some words where I was like, what's
I
that
just skimmed
saying?
over some words. I was like, okay, I think
Yeah,
that says that. Let's just keep.
I
But I
think that,
love the
yeah.
look of it. Like she did the
No, it
purple,
is
and it
very
said Hannah
pretty.
Montana at the top. It was really cute.
I love the
Yeah,
glitter, the Hannah Montana vibes from
But
that.
you
yeah,
know, I
no,
mean,
definitely.
and she kept it really positive, which I liked because I know there's
Mm.
probably a lot of negative aspects to growing up on TV, but she was
Oh
very
yeah,
much like, I really enjoyed my time growing up on TV. Like that's where everything was. Like that studio was my home. She has a
Oh,
lot of good memories. She was talking about her
yeah.
grandparents, and this is
that's so sweet.
Mm.
I loved that show growing up. It was very nostalgic for me. I wanted to like be her, like live a cool double life and be a pop star. Like I thought it was so cool.
I mean,
Ugh.
as the theme song said, it was the best of both
both
worlds. It's
Woo!
funny. I like
I could
thought that
still.
unironically, and then I remembered like, oh wait, that's the song.
I know the whole thing. I've been actually rewatching Hannah Montana recently.
Really?
Completely unrelated to this, just
Is
because
it on like a streaming thing?
it's on Disney Plus. And
Oh, I guess that makes
it's a fun
sense.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of
wow,
forget
that's
about that
awesome.
sometimes.
You know what else Miley did too, though? Like she sent gifts to everybody who was on the show. Like she sent a gift to
Oh,
Corbin Blue, who was a guest star in season 1, a
no
guest star.
Wow,
Like
way.
that's
he
so
was just,
sweet.
That's
and
so
he got a
cute.
gift. And then he sent Emily Osment this. I mean, she sent Emily Osment this giant, like I don't even know. It's like it looks like a giant star,
A giant star. What,
like
like
made out of
a
flowers. Like it's a giant star
Oh,
made out of
oh, it's
flowers.
flowers. Okay.
It's like 20 pounds. She commented on
Whoa,
it.
20 pounds of flowers.
I
I would
know.
want that. That
Crazy.
sounds cool.
I
And
don't
you
know. That's like cool, but also like it's a lot to deal with. Like I don't know,
yeah,
20
that might
pounds
be
of
Yeah.
hard to
flowers.
maintain the prettiness.
Like what you do with this gift.
You need a lot of water to like maintain that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I also wanted to talk about some new music that came out. First off, we have single "Last Day on Earth" by Biba Doobie, Biba Doobie,
Adobe.
Biba Doobie. Yes. Um, yeah. Co-written and co-produced by the 1975's Matt Healy and George Daniel. It's off a new EP extended play, which is coming out like I don't think it's coming out until like the spring. But this song is pretty cool. I like it. It's very like dreamy and like it's odd. It does this thing with the kind of instrumentals and the vocals where the vocals are like they feel like in a way behind the instrumentals. Like, but it's odd because it's not like there you might have some trouble hearing them and like understanding them, but not like but it's still like kind of like back, you know? Like I don't know. It's hard for me to describe, but it is very like non-pronounced. It feels very dreamy and like it's very synth heavy and very um yeah,
Sounds like
it's
my kind of vibe.
yeah, no, it's super cool. The other song was Once in a Lifetime by All Time Low. I really did not like this song. So I don't know much about All Time Low. I know I've always heard them kind of mixed in with, you know, emo, you know, pop punk bands of the early 2000s. And it's, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't sure really what their reputation was, but it seemed like they only had one good song in 2007. And they've still been pretty active, but this most recent song, it's very like just polished, very just like run of the mill pop punk. And wait, I have the thing up now. And
You
yeah,
don't
no,
understand.
don't recommend.
See, now I have to listen to it to see like how bad
Yeah.
it is. Because if you don't like it, I
I don't
probably
know.
won't either.
I feel like it's more of like an aesthetic thing. Like I feel like the melody isn't even that bad, but it's just like so like whiny. It honestly feels like something from 2002, you know? And like,
So interesting. See, I'm
yeah.
wondering if it'll be nostalgic or just like straight up annoying. I'm
Well,
very curious now.
well, it's funny because it feels like something from 2002, but it'll remind you of songs that are better, you know?
I love negative reviews.
Like, yeah. Like,
Really
it's like,
know
oh,
that.
wow, this kind of sounds like a song, like another song I'd listen to, but not this one. Okay, and finally, I also had Monsters, or is it Monster or Monsters? I don't know. It's a subtle difference. By Hit Like a Girl. This is a super cool band from the Montclair area, I believe. And yeah, this song is like really like dreamy, very uh I don't know, it's really cool guitar riffs going in, very like sweet. I don't know. That's like the vibe I got from it. And yeah, so this is definitely one I check out. This is kind of a smaller band too, so it's good to support.
I
Gotta
like that
support these
background.
bands. And as
Oh yeah, this is
far
the
as
album
the
cover.
internet goes, the song's called Monsters, plural, not
Okay,
monster. So
awesome. Good
Monster.
fact check. Thank you.
I got you. Well, anyways, from music to movies, we've got Allie Leach here to give us the entertainment news scoop. Do people still use that phrase? Like, get the scoop? I haven't heard that in a while.
We're gonna
Yeah.
use it today because I'm gonna give you guys the entertainment scoop. So
Just reminds me of ice cream, which is never a bad thing, but it is the morning, so maybe not.
we are going to start off with some entertainment news. We are going to start off on the little bit more of the sadder side today because unfortunately George Siegel, a very popular American comedian and actor, passed away on Tuesday at the age of 87, and unfortunately following surgical complications, according to the New York Times. But he was a great actor, and I felt like I needed to kind of like mention him, give him a little shout out, honor his legacy. Because
Right. Celebrate them.
he's not someone that we always hear of, but he's in a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows,
Yeah.
and he's done a lot of work for entertainment. But he's not like a household actor name, I feel like.
Right.
It's not like Leonardo DiCaprio level.
It did take me a quick Google search to be like, oh yeah, I've seen this guy before. He's like everywhere, but I guess I didn't know his name. But
I remember him from the Goldbergs. He's the cutest little grandfather on that show. He's very funny.
Yeah,
But I hate that it's not even like natural, like surgical complications. That makes me sad.
yeah.
It's even worse.
he was most recently known for the Goldbergs too. That was his most recent popular sitcom. And they still have episodes with him in it, and the final episode with him is going to air on April 7th.
Oh, that's good.
So I think everyone should tune into that. I'm going to tune in to that and watch it because it's going to be a little bit of an emotional day, but
Special episode, and they probably didn't even know it when they were filming it.
yeah, that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to move on to some more happy news now. We're going to talk about Glee. So the cast of Glee is going to reunite to honor the legacy of Naya Rivera's character. So Entertainment Tonight said that at the 2021 GLAAD Media Awards, they're going to honor LGBTQ teens, and they're going to honor the legacy of Santana Lopez, which was Naya's character on the show, because it's the 10th anniversary of her character coming out on the show. And they're also going to be honoring Naya, who passed away last July at only 33. So it's going to be a very nice little
Wow.
at the award show. So if you guys want to tune into that, that's going to be really nice.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be beautiful, yeah.
It sounds really sweet. They're honoring her character coming out. Like, I know that maybe sounds silly to some people, but that's a really hard thing for people to do too. And if it was like, on the TV show, that they're honoring her character, that's so sweet. I love that.
Yeah, especially 10 years ago. Like, Glee has been a TV show that's been a positive representation of the LGBTQ community, I feel like. And they've been doing it for a while now. They really have, since like the early 2010s, like 2009, that time. And even back then, it still kind of was taboo to talk about like the LGBTQ community while on TV. So,
I remember, even though when we were kids, it was still like a taboo subject in like 2008. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Like when Glee was at the height of its popularity, it was still a very taboo subject to be talked about on TV.
I like how bold they are.
Yeah, I like how bold they are, and I like that even 10 years later, they're still like, we did that. Like they're gonna honor the 10-year anniversary, and that's big that her character came out on the show for not just the show and entertainment and TV, but for everyone watching at home, all the teens watching at home who might have been in the LGBTQ community. That was a huge moment. So I think this little memorial at the GLAAD Media Awards is going to be kind of like a nice, another little moment for the LGBTQ community to tune in and watch.
For sure. And I feel like this isn't something that happens a lot where they, honor like a character and like the, coming out of them. I guess maybe because that just hasn't happened enough in our media, but I think it's real awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we're the generation that's seen that kind of transition, like a time when that was not something that was in media at all to when it kind of started being in media a little bit, and now there's a lot more than there was when we were younger, which is also amazing, I think, to see. And even like I think Will and Grace is probably one of the most popular shows that had gay characters as the leads, and that wasn't that long ago.
It's true. Yeah, I guess more of what I meant is there's no like, since it's more recent that we're actually representing LGBTQ plus people, there's like little room for having like 10-year anniversaries of celebrations of like this like moment in TV. So, but yeah, I'm a fan of this.
Yes, good job, Glee.
Yes.
Glee.
So now I'm going to move on to some TV and film recommendations. The first one that I have is Of Mice and Men, directed by Ted Kocchiff. Came out in 1968. It's a made-for-TV movie, and it's starring George Siegel as George and Nicole Williamson as Lenny, and it's based off the classic novel that we all had to read in high school, Of Mice and Men. And I don't know about you guys, but I am not much of a reader. So when I read Of Mice and Men in high school, I actually enjoyed it because I was able to watch a movie with it. So
you and pretty much every other high schooler.
Those are the best kinds of books.
Yeah, they are. But I love this movie. I first watched it in high school when I had to read the book. You guys should go watch it. I rewatched it again a couple days ago when I heard about George Siegel. It's just nice to watch it again and see him.
Gotta get nostalgic for that. 1968. You're real throwing it back today.
Throwbacks. I love having my throwback films in there. And the next recommendation that I have is actually a TV show. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. Good Girls. It's a TV show that just started season 4. It's airing on NBC, and it's starring Christina Hendricks, Retta, and Mae Whitman. And it is about 3 like suburban mothers, and they're just not in the best circumstances right now, and they kind of get together and they take chances to like kind of take control of their life again. I don't know how to describe the plot.
I'm laughing because the show it's very funny. It's just these moms financially struggling, so they decide to rob a grocery store, and like obviously that doesn't work out well. They get away with it, and then they come up with like more schemes to like keep like getting more money illegally, which I mean obviously we don't recommend, but it's very funny to watch, and they're constantly struggling. It's funny that you mentioned that season 4 is coming out because I stopped watching around season 3 because it became repetitive. They're like, oh, we're moms struggling and we need money. We're going to come up with a scheme. That was pretty much every episode. So at some point I was just like, I don't know, I'm kind of bored. But you know, maybe I'll give it another chance now that another season has just started.
I feel like I always hear people talk about it. Like I feel like I've heard a lot of people mention this show.
It's hilarious. It's really good. I mean, I really like the first 2 seasons. It's almost like addicting to watch because they almost get caught so many times, and they're involved in like so much crime. It's just like, oh my god, are they gonna get caught this time? You're like on the edge of your seat, and it's like these like moms, you feel bad for them, like they just need some money. It's, oh my god, it's good.
Yeah, I just started it. It was a show that I would watch if it was on, but I never took the time to watch it from beginning to end. And now I just started actually taking time to watch it because I heard that the new season was coming out, and I remember it being really funny. And right now just finished season 1 and I'm about to start season 2. So I can see where you're saying that you could see that it gets a little repetitive. Yeah. But I'm hoping that maybe season 4 will come around.
And when they do change up like their little tactics and stuff, and they implement more of like their personal lives, it's very interesting. But at some point it feels like the same thing happening over and over. Like they almost get caught and then they don't, and it's like at some point you're like on the edge of your seat for a while, and then you're just like, okay, if they get caught, like I don't even care anymore. I hope they bring back that intensity for season 4, because I really like the concept of the show. Very interesting. But anyways, if you just woke up or if you've just tuned in, you're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is We Can Wake Up with myself, Leslie Gallagher, and my co-host,
Caitlin Aristizabal.
And we've just been talking about new movies and not new movies, but season 4 of Good Girls coming out, and Allie Leach just recommended that we rewatch Of Mice and Men to recognize the legacy of George Siegel, who passed away this past week. So that's a little recap of what we've been talking about. And now we're going to get to a bit of lifestyle and travel news with Camilla Wnek.
Hello, you guys. What's up? I hope you're doing well. Pardon me.
Yeah, what have you got for us today?
So for some lifestyle news today, many airlines and travel businesses have been pushing the U.S. to eliminate travel restrictions since the COVID-19 pandemic. So ever since, last year, you guys know how the travel industry, truly went down. All the airline businesses almost went, bankrupt due to the fact that there was no one traveling. Well, now they're trying to re-spark it back up again. And so according to AP News, the recent vaccines, they sparked a lot of hope in travelers. And the many different companies of the tourism industry, whether they're airline companies, whether they are just like hotel businesses in general, they're insisting that those with the vaccine would be exempt from COVID testing before entering the US or different countries in general. And I was just, guys, going to ask, what do you think about that? Do you think that's a good idea to travel? Do you think it's more of like a money tactic? What do you think? Because it sounds interesting.
It's always about money. I think it always comes back to money. All these, not even just travel, but all these businesses are trying to start making money again. If things are slightly going back to normal, and that does definitely give people hope, but you said that people who get vaccinated don't need to be COVID tested. That is ridiculous. Because you can still get COVID if you're vaccinated. It just won't be as severe, which means you can still give it to people. So that's just kind of crazy to me, but
yeah, it is a little crazy because mostly what worries me is the variants, which we're actually going to be talking about a little bit later in the episode today. But the variants are not necessarily protected by the vaccine. You could still get COVID-19 if you are fully vaccinated. It's not really an excuse. I mean, you should still be being safe. The fact that there was eliminating travel restrictions makes me really nervous, especially because in our area here in New Jersey, we also just got an increase of cases, and that's mostly because it's spring, people are traveling more, and that's what I kind of think is the issues, people traveling. A ticket to Florida is really cheap right now, and I get it. You want to go on spring break. You kind of need a mental break from school, but it's also not the responsible thing to do. And it's not just people going to Florida. It's just people traveling in general. I don't think it's the right time to be going to other countries right now, especially when the US is in such a mess that it's I wouldn't want to be the American responsible for ruining New Zealand's good time. Not that I think they're even letting us in, but you know what I mean. It's just a lot of countries kind of have it together and we really don't.
Leslie, I was going to say, according to AP News, it's all I don't want to say all countries, but most of the popular countries out there, most of the countries in Europe, most of the more tourist countries in Africa, I wasn't sure about Australia, but just many countries are like pushing on the fact like for like, hey, US citizens, travel more. You guys have the vaccine, don't worry. And it's like, it's kind of funny because last year it was like complete opposite, wasn't it?
I wouldn't trust us for a minute. Like seriously, like I don't, it's just, it's not even, it's, maybe it just seems like I'm like being rude to America and Americans, but I mean, we're so politically divided on, people are arguing about masks being a form of oppression. I mean, we're so backwards. I mean, you know, like mostly during last year when, I mean, you remember all that time when the protests started, people fighting for their human lives, and then people were like, I don't want to wear a mask in a Walmart, like, you know.
Yeah, because that's the same thing.
That's the same thing, right? And we're being sarcastic if you can't tell, but it's just like, I wouldn't trust us.
No, and you know what's crazy? I've been seeing people post about it too, that schools are saying, you know, we can't force people to wear masks, and everybody's like, you force students to do so many different things on a daily basis, especially when it comes to dress code. So why can't you force somebody to wear a mask? You won't let me go to the
bathroom when I'm like really need to, but you like can't wearing a mask.
Yeah, you don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to go to the bathroom, but you don't have to wear a mask either. So
I mean, I can understand if you're working with like little kids and that's really hard for them to understand why they need to wear one, that's one thing. But if it's like, I don't know, like if you're, I don't know, above 10, I feel like you could enforce that. I mean, you can't force people to wear masks, right? Like you can't force people to really do anything. But schools are so strict with some rules, like dress code, like you said, Caitlin, like, oh my God. It was like so insane in school how much trouble you could get in for wearing a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
Girl anyways.
Yeah, you could be a straight A student. You could be doing so well. You could be the nicest person, but you wear shorts. Oh my gosh!
How dare
breaking
she?
So many rules.
She's showing her shoulders. Oh no.
Oh yeah, that's me today.
Yeah. Camilla, no, you're off the show now. You're showing your shoulders.
No! Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so hot today. It's so pretty. I kind of, with that being said, like, I see why people would want other people, well, not people. I see why the travel industry is, like, big, like, on traveling now. You know, the weather's getting so much better. So, like, you know, you see that. But then again, it's just, like, you're putting safety at play. If it wasn't for COVID, I would understand that. But, like, it's just, like safety, like you don't really know who to believe anymore. It's like I don't want to get too political or anything, but it's like, you know, the politicians versus the doctors with the masks. It's like, who are you to believe? Like, really?
I trust the doctors.
Me too.
More than the people in office. I didn't say that. You didn't hear me say that. I just think the doctors know what they're talking about. I mean, they've been studying this their whole lives, you know? Just saying.
Yeah, as opposed to the you know, the politicians and everything who are most likely just trying to I don't want to say sell their campaign, but promote their campaign somehow. So just like no matter what, just follow the doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're, you know, looking to escape the house and, you know, you have the need to like go on spring break or something,
yes,
you know, just take a walk around the block and don't leave the country.
Yeah. Well, yeah, instead actually, how can I try to have a staycation at home? Live your life differently than you would. And another aspect, like if you really want to go out and travel, you know, the weather's nice, go outside, go into the nature, go to the local park, have a picnic.
Yeah.
Have a picnic in your backyard if you really want to. Or if you really want to go, like, you know, the extra mile, like, I just know this used to be so popular when I was younger. Have a camp out in your backyard.
Oh, yeah. I remember doing that. You bring out like the tent and the sleeping bags and you pretend you were out in the woods, but you were literally in your backyard.
Yeah. And I mean, if you really want to be like, you know, if you want to have more of like a, I don't know, I think it's called like a glamp out. Like, you know, like you're more into the cozy aspect of it. You don't really want to set up a whole tent. Have a camp out inside. Like if the weather permits, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? If the weather's also not that nice, it's gonna be easier. But like, I don't know, you could make like a little fire out of like out of like flashlights, or I don't know, turn on your fireplace, cook up some sausages, some marshmallows, s'mores. You're gonna be good, and it's gonna be like.
I mean, hey, Microwave s'mores, don't knock them till you try them. They're not that bad. Just saying.
I
Really?
love s'mores.
As someone who like lived in an apartment for some time, like I don't know, we didn't have a backyard. We didn't have like a little fireplace. So I mean, like I just like got used to microwave s'mores, and now I think they're better, which is so crazy. I'm gonna get slammed for that.
Better. I don't know about better, but I
just
mean
got
they're
used to
good.
them, okay? I got used to them. They're convenient and they're easy and
Okay.
quick. Okay. It's
Fair
not
enough.
the same as campfire vibes, but they're good. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, Leslie. I see what you mean that they're convenient, but I don't think they can, substitute for the same experience. I'm just saying.
I don't like burnt, marshmallow or burnt tasting anything. So I would rather put my s'mores safely in the microwave instead of risk them being burnt. I think I'm officially starting to sound crazy though.
So that's understandable, but I don't know. Still, I don't think they can. They can come close, but they can't substitute.
All right.
That's what I gotta
fine.
say.
They're not better, but they're good.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
I'll definitely give them a try at my glam out. I'm gonna go for a glam out for spring break, and I'm gonna definitely try them. And I'll let you know what I think. I'll try both versions, and I'll rate them on a scale of 1 to 5.
I appreciate that. You better give them a 5 though. They're good. They're good. I mean, I'm biased. I'm definitely biased there because I just love them. But anyways, thank you, Camilla, for your travel news and getting off track in conversation. Probably one of my favorite things to do ever. And next, we've got some mental health updates from Lauren Small.
Hello.
Lauren, how's it going?
Good. Have you guys ever heard of or experienced toxic positivity?
Oh, girl, don't even get me started.
I feel like Leslie and I were like kind of not exactly toxic positivity, but we were talking about certain terms people use that they mean to be positive, but they really are not that. We were having that conversation the other day. I just think that's funny.
Yeah.
Like what example?
Well, specifically in terms of like disabilities, and people say special needs. What was the other one that you said that I really thought was terrible?
Differently abled or like
That's
special abilities. And there's a lot of controversy around why that term is filled with toxic positivity.
Really?
And that's what we were talking about yesterday or the other day. Because
differently abled sounds terrible to me. Like I don't know why anybody would think that's a good thing. Like I could see the special needs one a little bit because I feel like that's something that's been used for so long.
Yeah, that one is like a bit different. I don't really know how people feel about it, specifically disabled people. Like I don't know how they feel about that term as much, but I know many disabled people hate the term differently abled because it basically, like, the reason it's like has to do with toxic positivity is because it really just diminishes the struggle and it focuses on like what you can do. Like you are still awesome, but it's not like disability is a bad thing. Why are we trying to hide it? We don't need to cover it up with a different label.
That makes perfect sense. That's like the whole thing with toxic positivity is that it's like diminishing what you're going through. Like just like label like
10 out of 10.
Okay, so I'll just give a basic definition. Dr. Jamie Zuckerman from Healthline defines toxic positivity as the assumption either by yourself or others that despite a person's emotional pain or difficult situation, that you should only have a positive mindset.
I hate it.
While being positive is always a good thing, undermining someone's struggle and brushing it under the rug by just saying like, oh, look at the bright side, or it could be worse, is just contradicting the goal of positivity.
Yeah. I feel like weirdly we see it a lot on social media where it's like good vibes only in 2021. It's like, well, like bad things do happen and they're going to happen. Like I know 2020 sucked, but like that's not the way to really go about it. Like things are going to happen. Things will make you sad. That's just how life goes. And brushing it off and brushing off other people's experiences is not it. It's not cool.
Yeah, especially on social media because everybody wants it to seem like they're living this great life. Like maybe they'll repost like an Instagram story about like mental health or something, but besides that, it's like you're not going to show the bad parts of your life on social media.
Right. Yeah. And it's weird because I feel like social media is changing a little bit lately where like people are being very vocal about like their opinions about things and social justice, mainly like speaking up for, you know, what they believe in. And then other people are like, positivity, like everything's fine, but it's like, no, these things are really happening.
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy, like the one spectrum and then the complete opposite end. Like everything with mental health and everything like that is a balancing act. Like it can be hard. Like I kind of sound like crazy. Like how do you know if you're just being positive or if you're being toxic? Like it sounds like it's impossible. Like, oh, I'm just trying to help, but now I'm being called like I'm using toxic positivity. But a way to know if you are like actually, if you're practicing toxic positivity or you're actually being positive is by being a better listener and an active listener. And when somebody, the thing is that with toxic positivity, somebody could be like asking for help and it just kind of gets brushed off with like, everything happens for a reason or something like that. And that just discourages somebody from like reaching out to people or like makes them question themselves like, oh, like why am I feeling this way, like if everything's just fine, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
It's important, I think it's important to validate people's feelings too though, because if you're just gonna sit there and be like, oh that sucks, but it'll be better, like you just focus on the positive, like sometimes you're just gonna be like, yeah, that sucks, like let's sit with that for a minute because it does.
Yes, Caitlin, yes. You said that, you literally said exactly what I was thinking, like it sucks, period.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay.
It's okay to not be okay sometimes.
It's okay to not be, yeah, like don't feel guilty about feeling that way. I feel like a lot of people kind of develop like they'll feel that way and they're like, why am I feeling this way? Like I have so much good stuff in my life, I shouldn't feel this way. And it's like, no, don't invalidate yourself. I think we do that a lot.
Yeah, it's because it's important to acknowledge the issues at hand, because when you just keep brushing it off with like, oh, good vibes, it's only going to like dig yourself into a deeper hole and prolong your issues and just kind of make them worse. Because I know like it's not only like other people doing it to other people, you can do it to yourself, like you know what I mean, like, and then
you're like, oh, this isn't really that important, you like minimize it in yourself. You're like, oh, it's fine, like I'll get through it. But
I feel like I do that to, that's how I handle things,
unfortunately, like me too sometimes. And I know it's like I should, you know, dive deeper, but I guess it's something we do to ourselves because maybe it makes things easier, but definitely shouldn't do it to other people.
Yeah.
Not that you should be hurting yourself, but you know.
Yeah. And sometimes it's good to like fake it till you make it, but if you're always feeling like you're faking it and you're always putting on this smile even when you don't feel that way, because you know on the inside you're feeling like, oh, why can't I just be happy? Why am I thinking this way? Like why am I making such a big deal of it? Because if you don't just like you said, like sit in it or like acknowledge it, it's never going to get better.
Exactly. Because if you don't acknowledge it, you can't figure out a solution or a way to manage it better.
Yeah. So as long as we're like active listeners and instead of saying like it could be worse, you know, it could be worse, you can ask them, like always leave it like open-ended, like oh, I hear, like I understand what you're saying, like how can I help, or like what do you need right now?
Yeah, sometimes asking those questions, because like you don't like, always know what someone needs, but like if you're offering, that means that's definitely like showing your support instead of positivity. That's, I mean, not, you know, like toxic positivity. It sounds good, like, oh, it'll be okay, but like I don't know, that's not really a solution.
The doctor I referenced before, Dr. Zuckerman, offers another explanation of toxic positivity as an avoidance strategy used to push away and invalidate any internal discomfort.
That's like such a defense mechanism. Like you're just like, oh, we're just gonna ignore that for now. We're just gonna push it to the side.
Because I feel like it can become like sickly sweet, like so much positivity that you're not welcoming anybody's like issues. like you will feel uncomfortable bringing it up because you don't want to bring down like the good vibes.
Yeah. I remember once I was in like a group setting, I won't say who I was with, but someone was like really like upset about something. They were talking about it and they were clearly like very down about it. Like it was all over their face and they were just talking about how upset they were about this thing that just like wasn't going right in their life. And then someone else was like, yeah, that sucks, but it'll get better, bud. And I was like, they were like, you just need to focus on being happy and like what's really good about your life right now. And I literally, I didn't even realize I was saying this until I had like said it out loud, because sometimes I just like don't think before I speak. But in this case, it was actually a good thing, because I was just like, no, let him be sad. He can be sad for a minute. He doesn't need to be happy or grateful about other things right at this very second. Like he can be sad about this thing. Like it's okay. And then the person was like, oh, it's okay to be sad. Like they made fun of me. And I was just like, what?
But it is okay.
Totally
Yeah.
right.
I was like, are you good? Like,
No, that's true. And you know,
It's
I
so
mean,
weird.
what Lauren said before too, that stood out to me, that whole it could be worse. I remember, trigger warning, this is about suicide, but not specifically, not in detail. But just I know somebody who kind of had like suicidal thoughts, and somebody else, I don't know the other person. I heard this story through somebody else, and I guess they were talking about the girl, and they were just like, "Oh, like why does she feel that way? Like her life is so good. She has a good education. She has this, that, like food." And I was like, "Whoa, there's so much more there. Like you can't just brush off people's feelings like that. Like, oh, their life is great. They shouldn't feel like that.
Yeah.
like,
You
yeah,
can't
maybe
do
their
that."
life looks great from the outside, and that's probably the whole image they've wanted to put out, because they don't want to don't know how to tell people that something's wrong on the inside. It's probably not as good as it looks. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much I could even go into here. I could go on a million rants.
Yeah, we could talk forever about this.
Seriously.
To sum
You
it
know,
all
moral of
up,
the story. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say moral of the story, validate feelings, but you go.
to sum it all up, toxic positivity is just dismissive and discouraging and prolonging issues. And the difference between toxic positivity and actually being positive is the sincerity. Toxic positivity is insincere, and it's just like phrases you throw out there to just brush it under the rug and continue the conversation somewhere else. And positivity is addressing the issue and acknowledging someone's feelings and trying to help.
Thank you, Lauren,
Yes.
for acknowledging my feelings. No, really though. Thank you, Lauren. That was some really good info. And you know, from being well in the mind, we could talk about being well in the body or the lungs. I don't know. Wnek is here to talk about allergies.
The lungs. You're so funny.
Hello, guys. Well, yes, general wellness, healing, body, lungs, all that stuff. Well, the lungs are part of the respiratory system, which are in the body. So, in a sense, body wellness. I would say, while Lauren speaks much about mental wellness and psychological aspects, yes, I'm Wnek, and I talk about all things related to health, our modern times with COVID, and just staying safe, well, and happy.
Yeah. See, you did a transition to yourself better than I did.
Oh, it's fine. Don't worry.
Science isn't my strong suit.
Don't worry about it. That's why I'm here to help. But anyway, today what I wanted to discuss is a topic regarding spring allergies, but also the rise of COVID in New Jersey. Now, being that we are local to New Jersey from Montclair State University, there has been a recent study stating that cases have been mysteriously rising again, and it was reported by NJ.com that over 2,600 patients have been hospitalized since the last week of February. Now, experts are saying that this could be due to a number of things, because after all, this virus is very unpredictable, and it's been like a roller coaster journey ever since the beginning. But there are a few main assumptions and hypotheses leading to why it's rising again, why we might have this like mini third wave coming into New Jersey. So number one, they say that we have about 1.3 million fully vaccinated individuals, according to NJ.com and according to the studies done by hospitals around New Jersey. We have about, like I mentioned, 1.3 million fully vaccinated individuals. We have about maybe 3.6 million partially vaccinated people and citizens of New Jersey as of Tuesday. But I feel that this false, this vaccination, this aspect of us just like having so many vaccines available and having many people vaccinated is causing this false assurance that, oh, everything is back to normal. This vaccine is as of the savior for us, and it's like this magic pill that made everything go away. But no, a lot of people aren't aware that just like the flu, you could get the flu shot and you could still get the flu.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
Flu shot, it's not like it's a special like immunity superpower that you suddenly have. So what's important to remember for anyone who's listening is just because people that have the vaccine, that doesn't mean necessarily that they might not contract the virus. Like, sure, yeah, the vaccine is proven to be, depending on which one, 79% effective. Usually they say that's with Johnson & Johnson, or 94% effective, but it's not that 100%. They can't always guarantee it. So I feel definitely it's this false assurance of people saying like, oh, hey, we don't have to wear masks because we are vaccinated. So that's number one. Number two.
How your sister was saying before, like they don't need a negative test if they've been vaccinated to travel, and it's just like, that doesn't add up. Like exactly what you're saying right now.
Yeah, I would have to say, like, it false assurance. Many people think that, like, oh, it's fine, don't worry. Like, I feel that even when it comes to regulations, they shouldn't just start opening everything back up. At least this is just my opinion. They shouldn't start opening everything back up because, now, like, the vaccination is suddenly working. Like, we don't even know. It's only been a few months since we have this vaccine available to our state. And especially with us just being with so many people getting it, while it's very exciting and I'm happy that people are moving forward and we're working together, we still have to remember that we, like, not everyone has this vaccine. Maybe not everyone can take the vaccine, because I'm aware some people have allergies to vaccines. So we just have to be cautious, be aware, and just continue working together. That's what's most important.
It's true. It's true. Have you been able to get the vaccine yourself, Issa, or do you even want to? I'm curious.
Unfortunately, I haven't been able to get the vaccine, but me personally, I feel if I must, I will have to. But the issue is that my body reacts very negatively to vaccines. I am fully vaccinated when it comes to important vaccines, but I feel like especially with what happened just many times previously, when I got vaccines, I would get fevers, chills, vomiting. Not the nicest story, but like I said, if I would have to, I will.
Right, but you're not like jumping in line.
It's not I'm not standing. Yeah, it's not like necessary. But also, I'm not working. I'm not an essential worker. I don't live with anyone like older who I could put at risk. Right. But yeah, I'm always staying safe, quarantining, keeping my immunity up, staying healthy myself. So
yeah, it's funny. I feel like I don't want to speak for Keelan, but I feel like we kind of feel the same, as like we want to get it just because it's like. I guess it just gives us more like comfort.
Assurance, yeah.
Assurance, yeah, that's the word I was looking for, and I couldn't remember the word. It's just not like I'm gonna like go out and party once I get the vaccine, but it's more like I will feel more safe on campus, or just in general, just being alive and going with the supermarket.
It definitely, it'll be some type of relief. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. And I know eventually Montclair is going to require it at a point when everybody is eligible to get vaccinated. So it's going to come sooner or later.
At some point, it's going to be required to like go places, probably. So it's just like, I don't know. And then there's also, though, the herd immunity, where if most people get it, then we won't have like an active like spread of the virus. And that's, I mean, it's mostly just a theory. I mean, a solid theory, but not everyone will necessarily need it, but that's the future. That's too far in the future to predict.
I would say, according to some CNN newscasts that I've seen not too long ago, I believe this past month, they said that about 70% of people need to be vaccinated in order to have that kind of freedom, which I see happening, because within the first 2 weeks of us having these vaccines out, we already have 10% of the whole US vaccinated. And it's funny because we have about 29 million people now vaccinated. And this is already more than people who we had infected with COVID. So that's at least a good development, good news that people are, there's more people vaccinated than sick.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is very good.
that's great number-wise. I like to hear that.
Yeah, that's some comforting news, even though we've had a spike in cases in our area. That's still good for the US overall.
But continuing on, what I would like to say is that even though, like you mentioned, going out partying and having a fun time, what might be another trigger for this rise in cases recently is also spring break and pandemic fatigue. I mean, we've all heard that at least in our university, and I heard also in a few other local universities, that spring break was canceled due to our longer winter break in order to prevent the spread of virus, but also to prevent more like cases like this going on. And I would see why this is happening. Like my sister earlier, Camilla, mentioned with travel and tourism, a lot of industries want to open up, want to engage people again, want to get back on the road and reintroduce this new norm. Even the same thing, we received an email from our university stating that our fall semester will be fully back on campus. Many people are just excited to get back, especially with these new vaccines coming out. And pandemic fatigue is a real thing. Like, I could say that myself. I just want to be like, go out, like, okay, let's just get this over with. Let's just have fun again. But no, we have to remember that this virus isn't just like thinking and waiting for us. Like, oh, maybe I'll stop today. Maybe I won't be. It's not really like it's not necessarily like a thinking intelligent being. It's just the virus. So we must remember that it's going to continue spreading. So I feel this aspect of spring break definitely is contributing to some sort of rise in cases. And I was wondering about your guys' opinion on that too.
Like, our opinion on the rise in, like,
do you think that spring break is influencing this rise in cases recently?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, people are stupid, people are selfish, and it's really upsetting. And I wish just, if you're gonna travel, I feel like you need to just be really safe about it. Like, there are people who travel who are safe, who quarantine, who get COVID tested, they do the whole thing. But then there are other people who are like, oh, I'm vaccinated, it's okay. And that's not.
Or not
way to
even
think.
vaccinated.
Or
like,
not, yeah.
Don't believe in the virus, and they're like, oh, it's not really a threat. Everything's opening up, so everything's fine, right?
That's even worse. No, well, you know what's, I always hear people are like, oh, well, it's a free country. If I want to go out and risk it, like, I should be able to. And it's like, that's selfish. We're so selfish as country.
You're not just risking your own life, you're risking literally everyone around you, and also every stranger you interact with, which is just
exactly.
Could you be more selfish?
I feel like getting sick from a stranger is worse. Like, if you get sick from a friend or family member, like, it's a little bit like, okay, you know what, we were together, transmission, whatever. But a stranger, like, you didn't ask to meet that person randomly on the street. Like,
yeah.
It's just, if I would have to summarize and like conclude in one like statement that I would say to the public, I would just say this. Yeah, we have this rise recently going on. And yeah, we have many different, the vaccine rollout and many exciting things coming, but let's remember to keep working together, to keep respecting each other, even just for the fact, yeah, there is a virus, there isn't a virus, or whatever you believe, just remember, like, we're here to work together and get through this together. So let's remember to just stay strong, keep going, stay healthy, practice the guidelines just to maintain this healthy environment. And find creative ways to have fun. You don't have to travel outside somewhere far. Like my sister said, you could just explore your backyard. Many people haven't been around their neighborhoods as much because of this COVID pandemic. So just like find other simple, local, and cheaper ways to have fun, just for not only for your like enjoyment, your safety, lack of stress, but also for the safety and good environment of others.
It's true. And just because things are opening up does not necessarily mean they're safe. I think we all need to just keep that in mind. Just saying.
A good, healthy dose of skepticism is always important.
Oh yeah, everything with a grain of salt in this pandemic. Well, if you've just woken up or if you've just tuned in, you're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, New Jersey, and this is We Can Wake Up. And too bad, so sad. You're actually right here at the end of our show. I'm so sorry you missed it, but hey, you can always catch it on YouTube too. Our YouTube channel is WMSC Radio 903. And yep, this is We Can Wake Up. And any last words, Caitlin, before we wrap up today's episode?
Yes, I just want to, as a reminder to everybody, like Lady Gaga says, wear a mask. It's a sign of respect. I'm just quoting her, because icon. She's an icon. That's all.
Yes.
Have a wonderful day.
We love that. We love that. Anyways, have a good week, everyone.